Country Bird is a holding company incorporating integrated poultry and stock feed business operations, operating as Supreme NutriFeeds and Ross Africa. The company has operations in South Africa, Botswana, Zambia and Namibia, and has a market cap of 768 million rand, a price to earnings ratio of 12 and a dividend yield of 2.2%. Paul, looking at Country Bird, your thoughts on it? It didn't get, rather, the results weren't as impressive as the others.
Yeah. Now this is the chicken industry, so we spoke a couple of nights ago about Rainbow. Astral is also a significant player. These two are smaller operations, and by small I don't mean that in a disparaging way. I mean these are still companies that make hundreds of millions of rands a year in profit, but in the context of the listed JSE environment they're relatively small. This is the part though that one worries about, because they've got to buy maize basically to feed the chicken, because a chicken is a maize conversion device, 23 days or whatever before it gets slaughtered. They are pressurized because Brazil, which has 4 or 5 or 6 times the number of people that we have in this country, has a much bigger agricultural industry and chicken industry, and they've been pushing chicken. The local guys will say dumping. Now in the old days we would have just said, oh well, that's no problem, we'll just put an import tariff on to protect the local guys. But now in terms of the World Trade Organization, you can't do that. Plus, of course, the Brazilians are supposed to be our friends because we want to be part of that BRICS club. And we can't be fighting with our friends. So now we're betwixt and between. So locally, I think the profit margins are under pressure. This particular company is owned by a Zimbabwean guy who owns about 80% of the shares. So it's also of limited interest from the public's point of view.
Your thoughts on Country Bird?
Just generally looking at the sector and going back to what Paul said about the maize, I was reading the other day the maize yield for South Africa was 4.2 tons a hectare once a year, where Brazil was getting 6 and 7 times that, in the same time period. So they can obviously produce a lot more maize. And the figures on Brazil bringing in boneless and full chickens is massively higher than what the regulation states. I know in 2010 they accounted for 90% of the boneless chicken imports into South Africa, where the regulations are coming in that they're only allowed to bring in about 46-47% of boneless chicken. So there's a massive, what they call dumping, coming in, and it's obviously both these companies in their financial reports have made cognizance of that, and they want someone to look into it because it is affecting the business. And the biggest thing here is obviously maize price, and they do say that maize is trending downwards from the recent highs, but maize price and soil price are still incredibly high, and these commodities are going to affect these businesses.
So lots of risk associated to this industry, Paul. When you're looking at a company like a Country Bird, what do you do with the stock? Do you get into it?
Well,
do you
it's
hold?
tricky. Because at the same time we know that demand for chicken, the finished product, has actually been strong. So Kentucky's been trading well, and Nando's is doing fabulously, and demand has been strong over the last sort of couple of decades. They haven't had the disease problems. Yes, there's been a bit of negative news feedback about people, including Supreme, which is Country Bird's brand, taking a chicken back from the supermarkets and hosing it down with seawater and then sending it back again. But they seem to have overcome these issues. Now, I'm afraid I would avoid the sector. This particular company, Jeff Wright, the CEO, is the ex-AFGRI CEO, so they've kind of repositioned themselves. They've got some nice operations around the country, big operations northwards of here, because of Kevin James's involvement and his sort of heritage as a Zimbabwean. He knows the market there and in Zambia well. I've heard in the sort of via that he may be interested in delisting the company, just basically taking it off, because there's no point having a listing with all this bad news going on.
Lots of it,
and there could be a modest premium paid, but then again, he owns already 80-something% of the shares. So he's much more likely just to nibble them away until such time as they've got 90%, then they can do a compulsory delisting without needing to pay anybody anything.
So with all of that, hot or not, Travis?
For us, I don't like Country Bird. I tend to, there's two sectors. I like the sector because of the fact that chicken consumption is the largest. It's double the size of beef, and it's 13 the size of mutton. I think the population of South Africa consumes 1 billion chickens a year. That's an average of two chickens per person. So we tend to like the sector. Rainbow, like Sovereign Food, like this one. I'm looking at the numbers, and there was a poor set of results, and it was weaker than the other ones. So I'm going to say not for the stock for Country Bird at the moment.
Paul, hot or not, Country Bird?
Also not.
So 2 not hots on Country Bird.